Hello, once again, and this is a Speira 3D printed American Civil War, supposedly £10 parrot. Still, as you can see, it's very finely detailed with all the tools attached. Unfortunately, you can see that capstan should be more or less level with, hang on, the end of the cheeks. Let me get a pointer. Keeps falling down. It's my silly choice of location, I suppose. There we go, look. So, that capstan there should be sort of back here, where the cheeks end. Oh, sorry, here, yes, where the cheeks ends. So it should be there. But also, this length from the trunnions to the very back of the cascabel, end of the cascabel, that's probably about 3 millimeters, maybe 4 millimeters too long, that distance. So I need to, excuse me 1 second. Yes. Is that focusing? Sort of. Too much backlight. Anyway, yes, so I need to shorten, I need to cut the barrel there, and then about there. So then I can bring this banded breech further forward. Yes, so the capstan needs to be about there. So the distance from there to there, yes, I need to come forward by about 3 millimeters or maybe 2. Yes, I need to shorten this barrel as well. Well, I need to shorten the barrel to do that. So I'll take about 3 millimeters off or something. And I've got to move this capstan. I'm shaping it first, because it wasn't particularly dumbbell shaped. It's what you'd expect, really. More rectangular. But you have to do that with most metal or plastic cannons, moulded. But the rest of it is, and the trail itself. See, what I've done is I asked Speira to make the wheels 27 millimeters diameter so that they match the Perry wheel. So this is a Speira wheel, and there's probably about 1/10 of the cleaning up work required to get them as perfect as possible. Which is, for example, I spent about 30 hours just on one Perry plastic wheel last year, and 30 hours each wheel. So I've done that. So at least the wheels are the same diameter as the Perry plastic guns, which I think are excellent. But also on this one, it's the carriage length. It's too long. It's about 4 millimeters, much longer than the Perry ones. I mean, I'm just assuming the Perry ones are correct. They might not be, but they looked right when I compared them to drawings, the relative distances. But this is wrong, you know. That's very poor to produce a model that has got that in the wrong. This is too long from trunnion to back of cascabel by about 3 or maybe 4 millimeters. 3 probably, and this needs moving back to here. but also this barrel length's about 2 millimeters longer from the trunnion to the end of the barrel compared to the periplastic one. So really it's more like a Type 2 gun carriage, and the diameter of the barrel it's about the same as the Peri one, so that's good. And the band is not as long as the Peri. Sorry, this band is longer than the Peri one by about that much. Peri one's shorter band, but still. It's oh, and that cross axle piece, whatever you call it, the wooden bit, forms the cross, cruciform. This, where's it gone? This, that's about twice the width of the Peri one. So I'll do a bit of filing, but well, I don't think anyone will notice really. Hopefully, once there's plenty of smoke and figures around it. Crew, well, it's still lovely, and there's a lot less work in fettling this thing. For example, these things like, where are they? Oh, just stay there, you twat. Sorry. These things are twatty. Before you get them on bases, they start moving around. Minds of their own, almost. But as you can see, it's superb, isn't it, really? The detail, look at that. This is all curved already. I mean, it's got ridges. It doesn't take much to get them off with a scalpel. And these handles here, they're already curved. So there's not a great deal to do, whereas they always end up being rectangular on moulded figures, and you have to do a lot of fettling to get them look right. Another interesting thing, it does actually have a bore. Don't know if that's... Let me try and see if we can focus on the bore. Not sure. Doesn't seem to want to. Still, it's actually hexagonal, that bore, which is very nice. So that gives me something to work on. I like the worm at the front. Look at that. And for example, see that cleat? This one here, look at that. It's got a hole and it's curved and everything. Oh, you can see the bore a bit better now. Just needs a little bit of gentle work. And the bucket is nice and solidly fixed on. Yes. Yes, so I won't have to cut the trunnions, I don't think. I'll just shape this while it's still sort of part of the barrel, attached to it. Shape it as much as I can with a scalpel. So then the barrel become free. Then I'll have to cut the capstan at the base, remove it, then cut the barrel in two places to shorten it, and then reattach the capstan. I don't think it'll be too bad, but it's going to be nothing compared to the work. Fettling, oops, disappeared. Oh, and that's, yes, sorry, I forgot to mention, because I made these the same diameter as the periplastic, or I got Speira to make them the same diameter as the periplastic ones. You can see I've done some fettling already, just curving, because on the rear, the inside face of the wheel, you can see the spokes. I've done one side of them already. They were squared off on the inside face, so they need rounding off. Well, they don't need it, but I do. And yes, they just glue on, look. But there's no mould line, you see, like on the inside of the rim, or the outside rim. But on the inside of the rim and the spokes, there's no mould line to get rid of. And that you always get a difference in height either side of the mould line. usually anyway. And that's why these wheels, the Perry ones, took so long, but these are going to take probably a tenth of the time to do, because it's much easier to work this plastic, especially with a scalpel. Files just clog up all the time, I find, and you're putting too much pressure, force onto the little file, which can snap things quite easily. Or a scalpel is the most efficient and effective and precise way to do it. A sharp scalpel. Just the tip, yes, mainly. Still, so I've got 2 of these and all the crew to go with them. But they do look kind of huge and evil, and I quite like that. Once I've sorted the barrel and the capstan out, they'll be fine. Really fine. You see it's starting to get a nice curve shape on the spokes. So, and this, how about this bloke here? Look at this one. Poor sod. That's a Speira 3D. I've done his, more or less done his right arm, only arm. Well, and using a scalpel to get it. You do get ridges in places on these, which is good. They look like creases. It's a good idea to get rid of those. You want creased trousers. I doubt if they are ever seen after the first few hours. Still, what a great figure. Look how fine his bayonet scabbard is. Magnificent. And his cup, look, hole in the cup. What else is there? Oh, this is a Perry Miniatures. I think it's from the Union Infantry set. It's like a small skirmisher sprue. I need to see that thing he's got in his hand. I'm not sure whether that's supposed to be a drumstick or it's actually supposed to be a ramrod. Anyway, I've thinned it as much as possible. Cut off the ramrod of the musket, of course. I need to extend that ramrod now with a suitable diameter bit of plastruct, probably. It's easy. I should have the right sort of size. But that's a good figure, isn't it? What a great figure. I need to just line up maybe more the ramrod with the barrel. Yes. There was a lot of work gone in. Yes, there was a lot, because he's in sort of... his torso's got one leg on the sprue, and then you stick on the other leg and arse, half a buttock. And then you've got to stick the arms on as well. The trouble is, you can't tell which arm's going to work sometimes. You might have a choice on the sprue, and you can't test fit them until you actually cut the arm off the sprue. Once you cut the arm off the sprue, of course, it's very difficult to work and hold. Not quite difficult. It's easier to do things when they're on the sprue, of course. Still, that's a great looking figure. And the musket's great. Perry plastics, brilliant. And, oh, 1 second. Here we go, look. This is, oh, my gun's gone. Hang on. Right. So, oh, here's another Speira. Yeah, I asked them. My first order's a Speira. I said 28mm was one of their standard sizes, so I just ticked those boxes. And they were just a little bit diminutive for my taste. So I just got Speira to make them. I just said just make them 2mm taller and then increase all dimensions accordingly. Yes. So this is quite amazing, really. Has he got high heels on? Oh, no, he hasn't. That's just a support thing. I was just looking at that thing. But, now this is a most interesting thing, because when you first look at it, you think, oh my God, that bloke's going to get smacked on the head, isn't he? By that arrogant Yankee officer who dared to grab his musket, which might be quite hot, actually. So he might let go of the musket anyway, because it's got a hot barrel. But if it's not got a hot barrel, that Confederate to me looks like he's in the process of using that Confederate's, the Union officer's hand simply as a centre of rotation, and he's going to rotate, keep hold of his musket exactly where it is. He's going to rotate, and the Union officer won't be able to do anything about it except let go, because his hand will twist, and he's got no strength in resisting that kind of twisting motion in a human joint. So then this bloke's just going to smack him in, quite rightly so, in the face with the butt of his musket. And then he'll probably do it again, and then he'll bayonet the arrogant bastard. And that's why it's an interesting vignette, because it fools one into thinking, oh, poor Confederate, but it's actually quite the opposite. You know, Confederate's just about to smack him on the side of the head with that butt. Superb. So it's a little trick of it's kind of like tricking us, really. So it looks so initially so sort of one-sided, but it's not at all. It's actually, the Confederate has the advantage, if only he can use his skills at rotating human joints, which is effortless, isn't it? Anyway, so, fantastic, magnificent, awesome for a diorama. There is nothing else available quite like this. These are the finest figures I've ever seen at this scale, quite simply, because they have correct proportions based on images, I suppose, of real people. And they take a lot less time to fettle and prepare prior to painting, or do little conversions and whatnot, or improve in various ways. So, yes. Oh, sorry, you've got nothing to look at. Oh. Well, anyway, I've probably gone on. I don't think I've got... Oh, I've got this bloke here. Here's another. Off, you bastard. Oh, magnets. Yeah, so this one... This chap... This is another one of those Perry-Union infantry plastic, hard plastic. And, yeah, this is a great figure. And I've used... that musket is a Speira 3D printed musket, which is quite magnificent, isn't it? Look at how slender it is. I snapped his bayonet off, but I can stick it back on, no problem. It really does glue well, the super glue, this plastic of these 3D figures. He's just biting a cartridge, because this is what I was saying earlier. I had no way of test fitting this arm until I got it off the sprue, and then it's very difficult to work on, and fiddly, and hold while you're trimming it. It's a bastard. Oh yeah, and he had an open hand. This was an open hand that you had to stick on. Yeah, he didn't have arms originally, so this figure. So yes, I managed to get his thumb against the underside of the musket, bit of stock, end of the stock, and curl his fingers around the barrel. See, I always wondered that. Those barrels get hot when they're firing, you know, and how the hell do you hold the bloody thing? It's hot. You'd have to sort of just gently hold the stock or the very top of the strap or something, the lug, cleat, It never really was a problem when I was doing reenacting, because we never sort of fired that often, that intensely, to make them. Only once or twice, but it didn't seem to be a problem. It's not an issue, is it? I shouldn't have even mentioned it. So yeah, he's nearly finished. I just got to tidy up his arms. That one's not too bad actually. It looks quite good. I don't think there's anything much excessive on this arm joint. This one had to do a bit of work because I probably used the wrong arm, but I'll just do a bit of. I can just fill that with paint and whatnot. There's a bit to do still. Oh, I've done underside. I always do underside. The overhangs of, like, see, his shell jacket. Sorry, his sack coat or blouse, whatever they called it. Yeah, I always do underneath. Undercuts. It just gives the figure more realism. For close-up photography. Really. That's the main point of all this. Stick it on YouTube. I've got to define his fingers a little bit more and tidy up his wrist a bit. Still, great figure. Look at his mug. This is periplastics. It was already hollow like that. Isn't that marvellous? It's a great figure. Periplastics are superb. But there's a lot of work getting rid of the creases and the mould marks, I find. Infill areas. Still, worth it in the end. And, yes, I think that's probably about it for now. Yes, dirty thumb. Right, bye. Thanks for watching.